So now that we have a Stripe account, we're going to use their excellent UI elements called Stripe Elements to add a pre-built credit card input to our form. To do that, we're going to roughly follow Stripe's documentation on accepting a payment here, which shows that the first thing we need to do to set up Stripe Elements is to include Stripe's JavaScript. In the base template, I'll add that in the core.js block here, and note that though we only technically need it on the checkout page, Stripe recommends putting it in the base template so it'll be available on every page of the site, which allows some of their more advanced fraud detection features to work. With that included, now let's go back to checkout.html and open up a new postload.js block at the bottom. First I'll render block.super, and in a moment we're going to write the JavaScript to add the card element in an external JavaScript file. Since we can't render Django template variables in external JavaScript files, we need to use a built-in template filter called JSON-script to render them here, and then we can access them in the external file. We haven't sent these template variables back from the view yet, but we'll do that in a moment. For now, I'll render one called Stripe Public Key, and one called Client Secret. To show what these do, let's go to Stripe and copy the public key, go to the Checkout Apps Views, and add it to the context. I'll also add a test value here for the client secret just so you can see what it does. With that saved, if we refresh and inspect the page, you can see at the bottom we have these two little script elements which contain the values we need in our JavaScript, and now you can see that their IDs match what we sent into the JSON script template filter. Now let's create a JS folder next to the Checkout Apps CSS folder, and inside it I'll make a new JavaScript file called stripeelements.js. Inside it, the first thing I'm going to do is get the Stripe public key and client secret from the template using a little jQuery. Remember, those little script elements contain the values we need as their text, so we can get them just by getting their IDs and using the .text function. I'll also slice off the first and last character on each, since they'll have quotation marks which we don't want. Finally, made possible by the Stripe.js included in the base template, all we need to do to set up Stripe is create a variable using our Stripe public key. Now we can use it to create an instance of Stripe elements, use that to create a card element, and finally mount the card element to the div we created in the last video. The card element can also accept a style argument, so I'm going to get some basic styles from the Stripe.js docs. And the only thing I'll update is the default color of the element to black, and I'll change the invalid color to match Bootstrap's text danger class. I can also get some CSS for our actual CSS file from the Stripe documentation, which I'll paste in here. The majority of this will stay the same, but I'm going to get rid of the orange border around the card element if the card number is invalid, and change the border radius to 0. You might recall also that we added a Stripe style input class to all the fields in the order form in forms.py, which means to make all the other fields follow this same CSS, all I need to do is add that class to our CSS next to all the Stripe classes. I'll add it here alongside Stripe element. Its focus and active pseudo classes here with stripes. And then match its placeholder color as well. With that finished, let's add our new JavaScript to checkout.html. And take a look at the checkout page. Looks like everything's working as expected. If we enter in an invalid card number, the number turns red, and all the form inputs look the same except for one thing. It appears the styling on the card element is not working, and I think I know why. In the Stripe elements.js file, I've accidentally added the card styling in the mount call instead of when creating the card. If I move that, make sure the style object is defined before the card, and refresh again, now everything matches up. I'm going to go back and commit these changes, and in the next video, we'll begin making the card element functional.